So let's talk about these WNBA reporters and the amount of disrespect I saw from them when they completely ignored Aliyah Boston. In case you missed it, after they lost the Seattle Storm, Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston went to the podium, and all the questions were directed towards Caitlin Clark. And my biggest problem with this is, why are you pretending like she doesn't exist? Because it took about 4 or 5 minutes into the press conference for Caitlin Clark to say, hey, you should ask Aliyah Boston a question. Aliyah Boston, I think it was like over a week ago, stopped Caitlin Clark from answering a question from a reporter. And I don't know if the reporters are offended by that, but my problem is this. It's a team sport, and everybody has a contribution. In my opinion, Aliyah Boston, based on everything I've seen so far from this team, she's the second best player. It's her second year in the league, obviously her second year with the Indiana Fever. And for her to go in that press conference and, she didn't answer the question, I can't blame her, because the reporters were beyond disrespectful. They should all be fired, because if you're going to do your job, do it correctly, because there's 2 people in that press conference. And for you to just act like she doesn't exist is embarrassing. My biggest concern with this whole situation is, how is Aliyah Boston going to feel going forward? Because if she has to deal with this media circus year in and year out, is she going to put up with this team? Because in my opinion, I wouldn't. Why would I want to deal with a media that just totally dismisses me? Also, another thing is, why didn't the coach go up to the podium with Caitlin Clark? Why does it have to be her? And if she saw that, why didn't she step in? Because you're the head coach, you're the leader, and to see that disaster, and I hope that Chrissy Sides is doing something about that and trying to keep this team together, because in a year, I think she'll be fired if she keeps this up, because it's a total disaster what's going on. And it's embarrassing. Now Caitlin was doing her job. I'm not going to knock Caitlin, because she's the one who stood up for her teammate. And I'm the second co-star on the team. I'm glad she did that. Now, I'm also upset because I feel like I just wasted 4 or 5 minutes of my time. You might just make this about Caitlin Clark. Why am I even here to begin with? So we're going to play the clip of what went down, and then I'll come back and give you more of my thoughts.
Yeah, I think I only took a couple shots, so I think I could have probably tried to set some more screens and use some more screens, but we turned the ball over a lot. I don't know, when you're playing out of a ball screen a lot and you get blitz, you're just going to have to give the ball up. That's just kind of how it rolls. And I don't know. I think I could find ways to get the ball back a little bit, but at the same time, we were still doing some really good things out of the ball screen there, and especially when we cut it to 9 points to start the 4th quarter. But I think we have to find a way to continue to be more consistent and set and use screens and continue to flow a little bit better in offense. And we had been doing a better job of that, but I didn't feel like tonight was our best. You could ask some Aliyah question. Ask Aliyah a question.
So as you heard in that clip, Caitlin was answering all the questions. Aliyah Boston finally got attention because it took Caitlin Clark to say, hey, you should ask my teammate some questions as well. I'm not the only one in this room. And she dismissed him. And as, her teammate, I would do the same thing. Because if you're not going to value who I am, why should I even be here in the first place? So again, basketball is a team sport, and the Indiana Fever needs to be careful with this situation, because Caitlin is going to get a lot of attention because she's one of the faces of the league, and she's going to be the one that's going to help bring faces to the WNBA, and she's done that already. She deserves that credit. It's not a video to hate on Caitlin, but if you're going to build a winning culture and have a team who can win and compete for a championship, you got to have your cornerstone pieces. And Aliyah Boston's in her second year in the league. You need to make sure she's happy. You need to check in with her and say, hey, are you okay? Are you good? Because I know that was really rude, and I wouldn't like that if I was in your position. Those conversations need to be happening with the coach and Caitlin. They need to make sure she's good, because if she continues to deal with this type of treatment, where she's with Caitlin and nobody's asking her opinion or her thoughts, because she's a basketball player as well. She's a professional. She's a pro at this. And she gets pushed to the side. What's going to happen? She's going to leave, because who wants to put up with a situation where you're not treated right, where you're not heard at all? You're in the room and you're just sitting there and you see her holding the paper. What am I even doing here? So again, it's just another example of the leadership of this team, with the coach. And my thing is this: I feel like ask her teammate, move on for now, but keep this as a note where if it continues and I'm being ignored, and it's not Caitlin Clark's fault, I'm not going to blame her. I would just move on because I don't want to deal with that type of circus or headache. And now I'm upset about something that has nothing to do with basketball. That's the biggest thing is like, what are we doing here? Like, you're not making me feel like I shouldn't share my thoughts or opinions. That's a bad look because people are going to write about that. People are going to have different opinions about what was going on in that room. And the reporters out there, do better, please, because that was embarrassing. And if I was a reporter and I was in that room, I would probably just walk out or at least ask questions to Aliyah, change the setting of the room because it's not all about Caitlin. Now, I know in basketball it's a star-driven league, but you need a team to win basketball games and be a championship contender and to win championships. So with all that being said, hopefully Aliyah Boston can move on from this and, don't take it too personal. She's been a professional, so I don't expect her to overreact to it. But I guarantee you, if this continues down the road and the Indiana Fever aren't building something, she's just going to move on, and it's going to be a complete disaster because of these situations. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how the reporters handled this situation. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.